So it's finally happening. The water heater's going out, not for the normal reason as I outlined in a video last year where I checked on the overall health of this underneath to check the integrity of the tank. That seems to be holding, but the temperature regulation is not working anymore. And the problem with fixing that, this is controlled by this little Honeywell device, controls the burner, ignites the burner, things like that. To replace this is about $200. A new one is about $1,200. So in the grand scheme of things, not that bad, but it's a decent amount of work. Plus this thing, like I said, is over 10 years old now. For that much money and this late in its life, I'm thinking of going in a different direction. So our options are stay with natural gas, replace in kind, stay with natural gas, do a tankless unit, which complicates our exhaust piece here. Higher temperature, smaller combustion chamber, still needs to be vented outside. We could do an electric tank water heater, resistance heat. We could do a tank electric water heater with a heat pump. So those are new to the industry. Those are very energy efficient. You need an entire video to explain the heat pump cycle, but it's basically like your refrigerant cycle that your refrigerator, the air conditioning in your car, the air conditioning in your home works off of. The other option is a tankless electric. So as you can tell, I'm leaning towards that direction. The heat pump ones are incredibly good. They're more expensive than the tankless units, and you've got the tank. And they've got more failure points, so they've got a compressor in there. I like the technology. In 5 and 10 years, it's probably going to be the absolute standard, but a lot of reviews I read on the ones that are commercially available in my area seem to have a high failure rate. Of course, the only people who are coming back to leave a review normally are the ones that are a little too enthusiastic, like it helped them sleep better even. And the ones who have problems. So that's a balance. But those units are $2,000, $2,500. Plus they have a large tank. I'm thinking of the electric tankless unit. You've got the benefit of, even when you draw this down completely, there's endless hot water. It's cheaper. It's like $600 for the unit. Install is going to be a bit because we have to run electrical power to it. But it's also a much smaller footprint. So I can get rid of this and clean up the area. Not that I'm going to do anything with this area, but kind of nice to get rid of stuff. So the first thing we have to do is check our electrical panel. This is a newer home, so we've got 200 amp service. And we have to check to see how many open slots we need. So the 28 kilowatt unit that I'm looking at needs 3 40 amp breakers, just like the one we have here for the range. So we're going to need 6 slots for that. So we've got 2, 4, 6. So it will just fit on this side. And of course we've got this bank open also. So we've got enough on either side. So we do have room in our panel for that. The other thing is you need 8 gauge 3 conductor wire for this, which gets a little bit, is something you have to consider in your budget. Now, I'm actually thinking about mounting it right on this concrete wall next to the panel. So that'll reduce my electrical run significantly. And if we look up, I've got fresh water and hot water plumbing. The PEC's coming right here. So this wall, I think will do pretty well. And having it on the concrete wall, if something overheats, much less likely to start a fire. Seems like a safer location than a wood or drywall wall. Here is the on-demand electric water heater, and one other big benefit, it's a lot easier to haul here. I'm able to easily haul it in my SUV. First thing I did is mounted the unit to the concrete wall. Just drilled some holes and used some Tapcon screws. Pretty easy way to mount things on concrete. Here I'm using an impact drill. Makes pretty short work of the holes. Made sure to level it and tightened it up. Next thing I did was turned off the water and gas to the existing water heater. I wanted to reuse some of the copper water line on top of this unit, including the shutoff valve. So I disconnected the water lines that were running to it and just put a plug and tighten it up with a PEX ring to seal it off, but make it available for future use if needed. Here's some of the plumbing hardware on the existing unit, just disassembling it so I can reuse that copper and the shutoff valve. Then just mocking up the copper. In theory, you could run PEX all the way to the unit because of the heat of the unit. I just wanted to do copper for the first few feet in and out. I dry fit everything and then soldered it up and installed it. Then did my final tie-ins with the plumbing. This is relatively easy to do with the PEX. Took out a couple 90-degree elbows, replaced them with T's, and tied in my PEX that's running to the unit. Install took about a full half day on it, solid. But now we've got a Richmond electric tankless water heater in place. The plumbing is done, the electrical I just kind of put in place to give this thing a test drive, and the verdict is in. Really like this form factor, up on the wall, small. This thing's relatively lightweight. Doesn't matter once you have it up in the wall, but makes putting it on the wall easier. But there's a problem. It doesn't perform. So I'm in the northern reaches of the United States. It's the middle of winter. It's time you want to really test something out because the incoming water is about the coldest it's going to be. In my region, the purchasing guide said this can handle 2 simultaneous showers, which happens quite frequently at our house. If you enjoy lukewarm showers, that's the case, but this thing simply does not perform. This is the 27 kilowatt version. If you've got a family, do not buy this one. It is not good enough. Maybe if you live in South Florida, it'll be just fine if the incoming water's 70 degrees or something, but for us in the northern reaches, it doesn't work. They do have one size larger, a 36 kilowatt. Unfortunately, that's only available for special order. And I'm kind of in a spot where I need hot water like today. You can't go weeks without it. So it's early in the morning. I'm going to tear this thing out and get something different. Just spent half a day putting this thing in, but it is what it is. Testing it out, letting you guys know. Electric tankless water heater, unless you're single living on your own, probably not the thing. All right, got that thing off the wall, but now I've got an absolute disaster of all my scraps because I've been working like crazy because I'm trying to get hot water. I got to figure out what my next play is. So as you can see by the box, I went with a replacement in kind. After all that work that it took to put in and take out the electric tankless water heater, I wasn't ready to sign up for more electrical work. So, got this unit. It was much more difficult to haul. You can see it's big, it's heavy, it's awkward. I ended up renting the Menards truck. That was actually quite an easy process. It cost like 30 bucks for an hour and a half with that thing. Drove that jalopy home, took it back, boom, water heater home. I was tempted to try the heat pump water heater, but after the amount of work it took to uninstall and then reinstall the dud of the on-demand electric, I just went back to what I know works.